You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Hello and welcome to Orange County's longest running business talk show and podcast. And yes, I am your host, Rick Franzi, and boy, do we have a good show planned for you today. Why do you ask? Fair question, because Helen dos Santos is our guest. She is not only the Chief Executive Officer, but she's also the founder of her own company, Market Centric Leverage Systems. Welcome to the show, Helen.
Rick, thank you so much for having me. I've looked forward to this. You are an icon here locally from a good source of news. So I'm going to enjoy this today.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Let's dive right into it with what I think of as your origin story. Take us back in time and help us to understand the motivation, inspiration that you had to start your firm.
Well, I can say that I did not set out. I was not that little girl who dreamed of doing a business. That just wasn't my environment. Although I had quite a few people, influences in my family that did. Why I sit here today is just my own experience. I was 22 years with Keller Williams Realty and 17 years in the automotive industry prior to that. And just my observation, I noticed in the industry's leverage, they were teaching entrepreneurs, right, to leverage. Don't try to learn all 150 different tasks with different strengths and weaknesses, right, to hire someone and leverage that. So I decided to become a master in that very intentionally. And so I sit before you as a byproduct of someone Tim Ferriss inspired me years and years ago, the 4-hour work week. It's actually how I earned vacation and additional bonuses when my reviews came up. And that was to be able to go and learn from Susan Scott, Gary Keller, Diana Kokoska. So me being an entrepreneur, but I started out as an employee. These last few years and prior building a pilot program for what we do, it's so needed. Systems. James Clear said it best, right? You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fail to the level of your systems. So operationally, and especially now in a tech-driven environment, an AI era, depending on what industry you're in, you're already in it. It's already happening. And for others, the laggers or late majorities, right, in their reality, it'll show up at a later time. So helping people close that gap, it's necessary. It's scary, to be honest, as a mom, as a businesswoman, as a grandmother. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. We're on a mission to help 1 billion people. And that is 11.1111% of the total population. And we're going to start here in the U.S.
Lucky for us that you're starting here in Orange County as well. So Helen, since you launched the business, have there been any, I could say, what have you learned? But what I'm really asking is, have you had any pivots to the business, any changes to the model, minor pivots or major pivots?
Oh my gosh. We would be here all day, Rick, if we were to go over that list. I've had to pivot many times. I've been through the guerrilla warfare and business planning 3 different times over the last course of 2 years. My initial lesson learned was I wasn't thinking too big. Thank you, Gary Keller, for teaching me that. That's one of the nuggets I took from that environment. And so identifying the audience and who we're passionate about and who we're going to attract. So as an entrepreneur who's never done this before, you go through different levels of not having the confidence in yourself. I learned through this process that I spent 22 years in an industry that is late majority on tech adoption. Mm-hmm. So when I came out to launch a digital and human transformation company, right, our consulting company, I realized I was behind. So I'm currently doing 2 AI certifications. And that's really where I've spent this year of 2025 is sharpening the saw.
And we're going to talk about AI here in a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, so stay tuned. Before we get there, though, I wonder if you could put a finer point on the firm that you're leading and growing, and maybe help us to understand your niche, the problems that you're solving, and maybe step back a little bit and also give us some sense for the type of clients that really know how to leverage the working relationship with your firm, Helen.
That's a really great question. And it took me a long time to hone in. And it's really the solopreneurs and the small and medium businesses. The tech adoption, those big franchise, corporate, the enterprise businesses, they have whole departments. Their tech adoption is in the 70s, mid 70s to high. The solopreneurs, that everybody else, majority, we're only at 11%. And so that's a big gap. Employers and team leads in businesses, their adoption rate is in the high 70s. Employees, when surveyed, when you go into ChatGPT and Manus AI and or Perplexity to do that deep research, they're going to come back and tell you that the enthusiasm level of an employee right now is at a 44%. So the business itself is in real deep need of systems that are moving at the speed in which reality is moving in a tech-driven world and AI. So it's not the people. That's the other thing to know, that if you're working on yourself, you'll know if we're for you. If you're still moving on legacy systems of time management, if your systems are tied to digging in emails, you're still sending PDFs. You're having trouble. You need to hit 20 appointments, but you're not even hitting the 10, right? Your pre-appointment and lead capture system isn't automated with one button. An example of that, this QR code takes you into my system, and there's a couple of different ways that you can go. And so our system is a human in the loop, right? That's an innovator in the tech industry. We were beta testers for Manus AI before it was released to the world. So our systems and ROI that we're getting is a 20x right now. And with AI, OpenAI, I believe, just came out with recent articles that AI is doubling its capacity and capabilities every 3.3 months. So that means my systems or clients and community, that is their potential that they can have being in our community or working off of our systems.
So interesting. And I need a moment for a follow-up question, Helen, because as you're talking, I'm thinking you have dove into a very swift moving river of technology. And I applaud you for continuing a learning journey, as you mentioned, 2 classes in A certification programs. But I'm just wondering, from your perspective as an entrepreneur, how do you balance the need to learn and stay current so that you can adopt and adapt for your clients to also do the business of the business?
Rick, if I could have had you around asking myself that question over these last couple of months, years, or even sometimes days, working in your business versus on your business, it's very different. And as much as I have trained, and coached in my career, because it was a part of my job, I found myself, the entrepreneurial, like needing to take my own advice. So
Imagine
yes, that is real. So what doesn't get measured doesn't get achieved. And so so for me, I go back to numbers. I'm a numbers person, finance, operations, the technology. So for me, I just started measuring. When I go back to measure, and then you implement an accountability system, that's the beautiful thing about when you're leveraged by your system and not a people-led. When you're people-led, that's when you're feeling you're not keeping up. And then you have different realities going on, the business itself, the people within the business, collectively and individually. If they're not really enthusiastic about adopting, or if they're worried in any way, then it doesn't matter if you're an innovator or not. And you know what I mean? There's lag time. So I can't stress enough that our old legacy systems of, oh my God, I need leverage in hiring people. If that's your first answer, that might be your point where you're going to want to take a step back and assess, the room, so to speak, that you're in.
Yeah, because you're at or near, and I mean this is a compliment, even though as I think what I'm going to say may sound not that way, ground zero of the next paradigm in how business may be done because of the advent of AI and the ancillary impact that it's having on other platforms and software technology. Because it seems to me, if you're in the software space in any way, shape, or form, you need to have an AI strategy, at least on your pitch deck, if not in your business plan. You know what I'm saying? So I think giving solopreneurs and early stage companies and smaller businesses the opportunity to greenfield a platform that can scale without the historical requirement for staffing is a competitive opportunity maybe for some of them. Helen, what do you say?
I say that augmenting, not automation. And that's one of my lessons learned going back, and starting out is when you're starting and launching your business, it's so important for you to understand and know your core values. And when you're in the middle of that transformation of your vision, right, where you're going and what's showing up in reality, only time experience, rolling up your sleeves and living it every day of every minute. Like, how often do you reset and recalibrate? I'm able to reset and recalibrate in real time. My systems are running dynamically in real time, and I can onboard. I was in a class and there was just about 20 people. I said, I can onboard everybody in this room at the same time. Like that has freed up my creativity. That has freed up my time. My life by design is not ran by the annual calendar year. That's the freedom that, time compounds. When you're in the IT industry and your systems are running on AI, you're in exponential timeline. You're no longer running a linear time according to your calendar. It's very different. And I can only say this because I've now experienced it for a little bit. So to go back to circle around background and answer your question, it has been fumbling, right? And that difference between building it and working on it and building it and deciding, like, the chicken or the egg, which one comes first? And the answer to that is, for me, the connections. Continue to build my database. I have over 680,000 in my database, and that's going to be the launch of our community. And I make my calls like everybody else. After leaving KW, I was looking for a new community, and I found it in the National Association of Women Business Owners. And I joined the executive board as VP of Chapter Development here in Orange County. And what a great experience it has been. But I've been able to observe their model and systems, and I can see them too, where they're in between on a few things. It's interesting to be able to look back and look at others.
I'm so glad to hear that you found your tribe, because it can be lonely as you're scaling and, as a founder of the business, and then the early stage, there are a lot of long hours and not a lot of voices other than the ones in your head. So it's nice to get around other people who care and have perspective and experience. I applaud you, Helen, for doing that.
Oh, thank you. And it was very much needed. I was feeling very isolated. I was in a very big environment where I could do many things. And now I'm the one that's responsible for providing that environment. So I think there's a lack of confidence, or even going, oh, wait, I get to make that decision now, right? I was used to being led. And so yes, that finding that balance and that footing. And now I am moving so much more quicker now that I have plugged into that community. Just being around these wickedly smart business ladies that just have built amazing lives and donating and serving their time. But I'm inspired by them. And now I'm moving faster than I was when I was by myself.
Yeah, there's a proverb that says if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go as a group or go together. And so I think I'm thinking of that as I'm listening to you. Speaking of advice, I'm wondering if we could turn you in a little different direction. And that is there a piece of business advice that someone has given you along the way that you have found valuable that you could share with our audience?
Yes. And it's something that it's not going to be new to anybody, but think big. I got that from Gary Keller. I followed him for years and had the honor and pleasure of working under him when I worked in the region. Thinking big and never settling. And what I mean by thinking big is when I went to KW a long time ago, I, just to say it out loud, to make $100,000 or $150,000 back then, that was a big deal to me, right? That was thinking big. And now, walking out of into my 50s now I'm business planning and doing the numbers on being the first $1 trillion right business. Like, how do we build that? So thinking big has just, and going back to this girl in the local SoCal and how I grew up, here was my mindset. I've never been the smartest person in the room, but I've made a point to put myself in a room full of other smart people. And that was, if I just go do what they do, and they're at the best, and if I have no ego and I will come and land somewhere above average. Right. So even if you don't hit it, it's who you become. And then, so yes, over the years, I have shot for bigger goals and thinking big to where now I am today. And the confidence level just wasn't there before. So thinking big and never giving up. Just as long as you never stop, you will get there. It took me 15 years to hit my last goal. Just never stop.
I think persistence is a key to success in many facets of our life. Certainly as an entrepreneur, there's almost no substitute for the willingness to get back up off the mat and keep going. Have you told anybody else you have a vision for $1 trillion business, or is this the first time publicly, Helen, you have revealed that vision for the future?
It's not the first time I've said it. There are family and friends, always my mom. Like, I called my mom and talked to my mom, of course, before I got on here because, I was petrified. I still am. I'm feeling a lot better, Rick. I have a whole new appreciation for what you do. So that's the first time publicly that I've said that. And yes, I'm building and you can't see past what you don't understand. So getting familiarizing myself with those numbers, like on a calculator, you can't even get it on a calculator. And there are people out there. I'm just saying the system in which that business is going to run is on tech that is being built today. That's how that's going to happen.
It's fantastic. Thank you for bringing your energy to the show. I'm thoroughly enjoying this conversation with you. So you've mentioned artificial intelligence. I always, for about 3 years now, when it's appropriate, I like to talk with our guests about their vision of AI. So I kind of put it in 3 buckets. The first one is, what's your general view of AI from a theoretical point of view, philosophical? Second one, how do you see it disrupting the industry you're in? And third, talk to me about how you're building the business model and leveraging it inside of your firm.
Okay, so you keep me on track to make sure I hit those.
Got it.
What do I think of AI? I think it's the most smartest, intelligent competitor that humanity has ever have and or will have. I'm saying this from a competition standpoint, and then I'm going to give you a perspective as a woman, a little girl and a woman and a grandmother. and a mother and great grandchildren and the future of girls. I'm very worried about it, which is why I'm in learning about it. Somebody has to pack and run ahead on the road and find out how to utilize this tool in an ethical and inclusive way. And right now, AI is not that. It's less than 30% of women are in tech, and even less percentage of women are women engineer prompters. Mm-hmm. So that's why our work is building communication models for educational purposes. I follow people like the Center of Humane Technology and Tristan and his guys. I'm very intentional about that. And our education is not only how to implement, and our lead system, I prep for my appointments 5 minutes in advance now. It used to take me an hour and a half. So compound that over time. That's an example of how I utilize it in my business. So I could run leads and have appointments and just continue to go and never stop. I only do 4 days of appointments now. And so very systematically, it's allowed me to be in real time, be dynamic, and to have a human in the loop, not have to push and be people led. So that's a few examples of how I utilize it. As a woman and as a competitor, I'm very concerned. I'm looking for boards and have emailed and talked with. I'm reached out to other people on the AI international committees, because that's what I'm looking to do, is reach out on a national level to serve, because I would like to share our work and how we train and build guardrails, and show, the results that we're getting, because this is this competitor. We have never come up against a competitor like this.
As I mentioned to you when we were doing our pre-interview, one of my books is on the unintended consequences, and there's certainly always been with technology the promise, but there's also unintended consequences. And I'm glad to hear you say the term guardrails, because I believe in tech we have to put guardrails around some of this technology, especially in the early stages, because who knows what's going to be down the road. So I'm glad that you're willing to invest some of your expertise and time to help for the greater good. I think that's necessary, and I applaud you for being an entrepreneur, a founder, and all the other roles that you talked about that you do as a busy person here in Orange County. So you kind of touched on the future of your business, but I wanted to give you another bite at that apple. If there's anything about the future of your company, your vision for the future of your firm that you haven't had a chance to share with my audience today, I want to give you that chance here, Helen, before we wrap up the show.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Rick. And thank you for doing this, by the way. It helps us get our message out. And I would say my vision for the future is really to do better than when automation first came out back in the 1920s, when Henry Hines and Henry Ford, right, with the factories. Millions of jobs were lost, not over all at the same time. And then, making that transition and showing people that they can embrace it in a way, and they don't have to be techie, and you don't have to go get a degree to do it. Technology is advanced to such a degree that anybody can do it. And so that my vision is to help as many people that we can, because in the tech industry, right, there's a hiring freeze. There's a talk of a 3-day work week. And so that's the future. And so how we spend our time, we really help our clients time architect, right? Not time management. But my vision is for us to help 11% of the population, evidently 1 billion people, which is a great number and very doable with the technology and channels that we live on today. Very doable for anyone, actually.
I was excited to have you on the show because I believe there is a new generation's the wrong term. Prop's not right either, but there's a new amount of entrepreneurs who are coming in redesigning business based on more efficient systems and technology. And I think that reduces a lot of the friction to growth for them. And you've epitomized the thinking, the thought process, the mindset of those type of entrepreneurs. And this has been so great to have you on the show. Can you give us how someone wants to connect with you as a peer or learn more about your firm? What do they do, Helen? How do they find you and your firm?
Well, thank you for asking that question. So the QR code right up here, your viewers can scan that. mcls.tech. It's a new website, so it's only one page, right? We're just building that out, and we have an event coming up. I'm on Instagram. It's my name: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and our next event's in bio. I of course have a stand store, so you can do a search on. For those people who have their online stores. So thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate the great questions and conversation. Thank you for pulling all of that great messaging out. And you're a tribute to your community and helping many. I'm sure your patterns and everything that you pull out of people, you are a plethora. Maybe in the future, I could reach out and you can be a guest. I don't know if you've ever been interviewed.
I have been. I'm more comfortable on this side of the mic, but I've been on that side as well when I published my books and done some other things. So I told the people at the beginning of the show we were going to have a good one. And Helen, you exceeded my expectations and hopefully that of the audience as well. Thank you for your time today.
You as well, Rick. Take good care. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and thanks to the audience. You're a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show and podcast. Helen's episode is going to join our catalog of over 1,600 episodes. If you happen to be an Orange County entrepreneur, you would like to share your story with my audience, then connect with me on LinkedIn. If we're not already connected, reach out. I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I, and we'd be happy to get you scheduled for a future episode on our program. And until we get back together and have a chance to do this again, I hope all of your business decisions will move your companies in a positive direction.